Alton Brown. Alton Brown. Hey, Brown.
Ah! Who are you? What do you want? Wait. George Washington Carver?
You've been shirking your duty, Mr. Brown. Here we are in Georgia, the peanut mecca of this great land, and you haven't given the goober the time of day? For shame, Mr. Brown, for shame.
Well, I've been busy on other projects. I mean, there's a
What? Another potato show? Bah! That tuba can't hold a candle to the nutritional, culinary, and historical significance of this nut, which, by the way, saved Southern farming.
You know, technically speaking, it's a legume, not a nut.
Oh, you're smart. You think you can teach George Washington Carver about peanuts?
You know what? I'm not even going to have this conversation. You're dead. There's no such thing as ghosts, which means this whole thing is a dream. Although the Dickensian peanut chains, that's a good idea. Now I'm going back to sleep. Night, night.
Fine. If that's the way you want to play, then that's the way we'll play.
Oh, what a dream. Peanuts. Well, you know, maybe it is time to do a peanut show. I mean, after all, they're historically significant, culturally relevant, and culinarily versatile. Not to mention, seriously... Say hello to the peanut plant. Notice anything missing? Peanuts, you say? Well, somewhere along the line, this legume developed a curious defense against marauding critters. You see, after the flowers fertilize above ground, they droop down and push themselves into the soil where their fruit, the peanut, matures in safety. See? Now, these peanuts are probably about 80 days old, and they'll be ready for harvest when they hit about 135. By the way, today, America ranks third in global peanut production behind China and India. But while those countries grow most of their peanuts for oil, ours are primarily for munching. Hey, Peanut Man! Peanut Man, up here! You know, the mass consumption of peanuts in this country really started with soldiers on both sides of the conflict during the Civil War. But the association between peanuts and public spectacles, well, that was P.T. Barnum's doing. He was selling roasted peanuts at his circus as early as the 1870s. The jump to the national pastime, pretty much a no-brainer. And by the 1920s, more peanuts were being sold in ballparks than they were in grocery stores. Peanut Man, right. Hey, what's the big deal? Oh, it's you.
$6, if you please.
$6? Are you serious?
Hey, it's not my fault if the peanut is the most popular flavor on the planet.
Actually, I think it is your fault.
Oh, yeah, you're right. If it hadn't been for my pamphlet, How to Grow the Peanut and 105 Ways of Preparing It for Human Consumption, published in 1925 and still in print today, there wouldn't be any peanuts to sell at the old ball game.
Well, I hate to admit it, but he's right. See, in 1910, boll weevils wiped out the cotton crop in the South, and a lot of farmers were going to go under. Mr. Carver here suggested peanuts and pretty much saved the day and changed history. Then, later, from his lab at the Tuskegee Institute, he invented hundreds of uses for the peanut, including, what was that, peanut milk and peanut shampoo.
Not to mention peanut flakes, peanut sausage, peanut orange punch, chili sauce, mock chicken, mock goose, mock oyster, shampoo, face cream, hand lotion, peanut beverage, peanut surprise. Oh, that's a good one. 30 kinds of cloth
Hey,
dye.
Peanut Man, up here!
Hey, all right already. Keep your pants on.
Great salesman. You smell that? Me either. You know why? It's because the roasty, toasty goodness that we associate with peanuts dissipates very quickly. That's why they call them volatile compounds. Luckily, we can take matters into our own hands, and it won't cost us $6 a bag. The peanut family is extremely diverse on kind of a global scale, but here in the United States, 4 varieties dominate the marketplace. Here we have the Valencias, which are not very large, come anywhere from like 2 to 5 nuts in a shell. Their paper clings very, very heartily to the nut, making them not so popular with roasters. When I can find them, which isn't often, I like to bake with them. I'll just keep this one. They won't mind. Oh, look at these guys. These are the Spanish peanuts. Look how tiny they are. These are like the smallest of all peanuts, but ironically, they have the highest oil content, and that is something that we plan on taking advantage of very shortly. Now, for processors, the runner peanut, which is grown a lot here in Georgia, are very, very popular because of their yields and their specific fat composition. If you bite into a candy bar with a peanut in it, odds are that peanut is a runner peanut. Now, here's the peanut that we think of when we think of peanuts, the Virginia peanut. These are pretty much huge, gigantic peanuts. These are what you get at the ballpark, especially if you're lucky, and they are fantastic for roasting. Now, when shopping for raw shell peanuts, you really only have the shell to go by. You want to find something that is nice and firm, hard, no cracks, no black moldy spots, and as little dust as possible. I'd say that's just about the perfect peanut. Now, for my purposes, I'd say we'll take all of these and all of these. Sorry, clean up, aisle 4. If moved to an airtight containment unit, unshelled peanuts will hold their own in a cold, dark, dry place for up to a month. But if you hope on keeping them on hand any longer, you're going to need to put them into the refrigerator, or, oh heck, just go cook the things. Although they are thoroughly cleaned at the processing plant, let us remember that peanuts grow in dirt, and odds are good that some of that dirt is going to stick to them on the way home. So my first roasting step is a good bath. I have here 2 pounds of Virginia peanuts. If you can't get hold of Virginias, Valencias would be okay too. Now, once they look clean, you want to move those to some paper towels to dry thoroughly. You don't want to move forward until there is no surface moisture left. Then you can go to the mixing bowl, and the bigger the better in this case. Drizzle with 2 tablespoons of peanut oil and 1 to 2 tablespoons of kosher salt, depending on how salty you like them. There. Give that a toss, and then evenly distribute your goobers in a single layer on 2 half-sheet pans and place in a 350-degree oven thusly. Now, these will be perfectly roasted in 30 to 35 minutes, but halfway through the cooking process, you will have to rotate and spin the pans, meaning the top will go to the bottom will go to the top, and the back of both pans to the back of the oven. You know what I mean? Good. Delicious. You know what's really groovy is that if you eat them right, you'll get the perfect amount of salt, kind of like with a margarita, right off the shelf. See? Perfect. You know, you could also turn these into peanut butter. Although if you really have peanut butter in mind, you might want to go with the oilier Spanish variety.
What's so special about peanut butter?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe that half the peanuts that are grown in this country become peanut butter? Say, you didn't invent peanut butter, did you? No, it was that doctor from St. Louis. What was his name?
Ah, see? Nobody knows. Some inventor he turned out to be.
Well, it doesn't really matter. Peanut butter didn't hit the big time until a salesman. C.H. Sumner sold it as health food at the 1904 World's Fair.
Yeah, salesmen. They always take the credit.
Yeah, I hear you, brother. Hey, did you know that in this country, peanut butter is required by law to contain at least 90% peanuts? In natural peanut butter, the remaining weight is composed of peanut oil and, in some cases, salt. Mass market brands also add sugar, stabilizers, and various additives to enhance shelf life and creaminess.
Who are you guys?
As far as I'm concerned, homemade peanut butter smokes them both. And it's easy to make. Just place 15 ounces of shelled and skinned roasted Spanish peanuts in your food processor, along with 1.5 teaspoons of honey, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, a little more if you like your salty, and clamp on the lid and give that a spin, processing for 1 minute. Now, it is not going to become completely smooth. It'll just kind of be clunky and clumpy like clods of dirt. So break off the lid and break that up. It'll become a lot more receptive for the oil that will shortly be coming, because we're going to form kind of an emulsion. There, that's good enough. Lid goes back on, and the machine goes back on, And now in goes 1.5 tablespoons of peanut oil. I like to use refined peanut oil because it is almost completely neutral in flavor. Let this go for about 1.5 to 2 minutes or until it is nice and smooth. How smooth? Well, pretty much peanut butter smooth, like that. Since it does not contain any preservatives, you want to keep your homemade peanut butter here in the refrigerator. Of course, peanuts contain a lot of fat. Fat absorbs flavor, so you also want to keep it tightly sealed. Lady of the refrigerator.
Oh, Alton, they may be high in fat, but it's primarily the healthy poly and monounsaturated fatty acids that can actually help lower cholesterol.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lady of the refrigerator, the ghost of George Washington Carver.
Enchanté.
Peanuts are also high in fiber and potassium and the B vitamins riboflavin and folate, which has been shown to reduce the risk of heart attacks and some birth defects.
Don't forget protein.
Oh, protein, of course. Peanuts are high in the amino acids lysine and isoleucine, but they lack in tryptophan, cysteine, and methionine. So you really need to pair them with something like wheat to make a complete protein.
Well, I guess that explains the peanut butter sandwich.
I invented that.
You did not invent
I did
that.
so. Yes,
You
I
did
did.
not
Yes, I
invent
did.
that sandwich. I realize there's nothing shockingly new about the marriage of chocolate and peanut butter. Heck, the Inca were working this one out a few thousand years ago, but I bet they never worked out chocolate peanut butter pie. Well, we have. Let us begin. With 6.5 ounces of off-the-shelf chocolate wafer-thin wafers, add a tablespoon of sugar, and then clamp on the lid and take it for a spin. Let this run until even fine crumbs have been achieved. Now we're going to switch over to pulsing and add 3 ounces of melted butter. Pulsing while the butter goes in will keep it from pooling on the bottom of the bowl. Okay, move your food processor off and get yourself a 9-inch pie pan, metal please in this case. We'll need that conductivity. Now if you've ever made a graham cracker crust, this is going to be the same thing. Just get everything in. And then start kind of smoothing this out into a disc, nice and thick, and then kind of turn the pan and work it up the sides. You don't have to get this all the way over the lip, but if you don't get it up to the lip, then when it goes into the oven, it's just going to fall down into a pile on the bottom of the pan. And when it comes to working the corners, I like to use my knuckles. For some reason, the crumbs don't seem to stick as badly to my knuckles as to my fingers. There, doesn't have to be perfect, but everything's covered. 10 minutes at 350. Plenty of time for filling. Wash out your food processor bowl and let's get to the filling. You're going to need 1 batch, 15.5 ounces of your homemade peanut butter, along with 2 ounces of unsalted room temperature butter. Put on the lid, buzz that up for 1 minute, no less. When that's smooth, add 3 ounces of powdered sugar, plus 1 teaspoon vanilla extract. Process again for 1.5 minutes, or until very smooth. Okay, once your crust has cooled completely, carefully spread the mixture into the pie shell. Kind of gooey, so take your time. I like to work just kind of in one direction, spreading it from the middle. If you try to dab it all around, you're going to end up with a mess. There. Return this to your 350-degree hot box for 10 minutes. Now, I know it doesn't look very different, but it is, and it needs to cool for at least 10 minutes before we apply the topping. Microwave 1/4 cup plus a tablespoon of heavy cream in your microwave, and then whisk in 2 ounces of good quality bittersweet chocolate, chopped fine. Just whisk it smoothly. It'll take about a minute until it completely melts into what is now called ganache, which is very useful stuff indeed. Once your pie is cooled to room temperature, apply the ganache and refrigerate for an hour and a half to 2 hours. Now, I realize for some of you, this dish is never going to be good eats. I speak, of course, of the 11 million or so Americans out there who are allergic to peanuts.
Allergic to peanuts? Inconceivable.
Actually, there are allergists out there who believe that it's because of overexposure. Perhaps you invented too many uses for the peanut.
And to think, I was just getting started. Where'd that blue lady go? She was nice.
She doesn't like you. She doesn't like you. She doesn't want to talk to you. Being a good Southern boy, I have always appreciated the flavor of boiled peanuts. And for one thing, they're delicious. For another thing, boiled peanuts open up a gateway to all kinds of culinary possibilities, like African peanut soup, for instance. Of course, the fact that boiled peanuts taste so different from roasted peanuts are just a testament to the goober's versatility. Now, here's how I do it. I have 2 pounds of our Virginia raw peanuts here, and I'm just going to do this in a mesh steamer insert. You could do it in something as simple as a pillowcase. And we want to soak these for half an hour and give dirt an opportunity to get off of them. So I'm going to suspend that in a bucket of cool water. That'll give us about as much time as we need to heat this 3 gallons up, but not before I add 3 ounces by weight of kosher salt. There we go. And we'll put the spurs to this, carefully, of course. There. And set our clock. A half hour has passed and we have attained boilage. Time to get these nuts in. So we quickly drain, and hopefully most of the dirt will go down to the bottom of that bucket. And since these need plenty of room to cook, we'll dump them straight in and replace carefully the cover. Now, these guys need to boil nice and steady for 4 hours. And of course, we're going to lose some moisture during that time, so have a pitcher of water standing by in case you need to rearm the pot, so to speak. Now, that should be just enough time for some critical research work. When extracting your finished nuts, it's always best to use something like a spider. You don't want to try to pour all of that water into a colander. Now, the secret to serving is to eat them while they are good and hot. There you go, GWC.
Oh, well, thank you. There's nothing better than some good boiled peanuts.
Nothing better.
Unless, of course, it's a peanut colada.
Wow, that looks really good. Huh.
Want me to whip one up for you?
Well, no, I've got cooking to do. Besides, you're a specter from the netherworld. What?
You don't know what you're missing.
Here now, a soup application, which is a nice example of an African-style peanut cuisine. Pop a 6-quart pot, at least, over medium-high heat, and add 8 slices of thick-cut bacon, which have been chopped, to the pan. Stir often for 6 to 7 minutes, or until the bacon is nicely browned and the fat has rendered out. There, then remove the bacon from the pot and just let that drain. We will be returning to that later. Now, it looks like I've got about 3 tablespoons of fat left in the pan, which is going to be just enough to essentially saute 14 ounces or 3 cups of onions. But be sure to drop the heat to medium and let these cook until they start to brown around the edges. There. Next, we invite 6 cups of chicken broth to the party, along with 22 ounces of shelled boiled peanuts. That's about 4 cups worth, and a tablespoon of freshly chopped thyme. We're going to boost the heat to high, and bring to a boil, and then reduce and hold at a simmer until the nuts begin to let go of their skins and the broth reduces by a quarter. 20 to 25 minutes. Next, we kill the heat and apply the stick. Now, there's nothing that says you couldn't do this in a standard blender, but I like to keep my soup a little on the chunky side, so this is the right tool for the job. Just be careful not to splatter. It's hot. I'm going to drop my blender speed to low and stir in 3 cups of 2% milk, followed immediately by 4 teaspoons of rice wine vinegar, 1½ teaspoons of kosher salt, or close to it, and 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper. We're Return the soup to a simmer and serve with a little bacon in the bottom of the bowl, or a lot, depending on how you like it. A wise man once said of the peanut, "I do not know of any one vegetable that has such a wide range of food possibilities, either raw or cooked."
I believe that was me.
It was, and I have to say I concur. The peanut is an edible marvel, full of boundless nutrition and a flavor as enticing as anything on earth. Now, what is it you are working on over there?
This?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a little something new I cooked up. I call it an eye peanut. Not quite sure what it does, but I think it's going to be big.
I'm sure you're right. See you next time on Good Eats.